So I tried another shaman out, and my buddy looked at me and he's like, "You have no idea how to play this game. I'm going to teach you from the basics. You're going to play a character that has absolutely the easiest skill set to basically learn."
I feel
and
like
you can be an orc.
didn't warriors have stances still back then?
They did.
Yeah.
But he's like, you're not going to worry about any of the stances. You're just going to worry about being in that one. And he helped me like keybind all my abilities.
Oh wow, this is a nice friend, dude. This is a good friend you had.
Yeah, he's my main tank too.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
So he helped me out.
Jaman, yeah, Jaman. I hope you like a Jaman too.
Welcome, one and all, to Jamencast. This podcast is dedicated to celebrating video game news and delivering video game news and interviews. I adore video games, and I love sharing that every week. Stick around, I think you'll have a good time. Today, I have the What's News segment, where I go over this week's video game news, the things I found interesting, keeping you up to speed on what's going on, and then I have this week's interview. Active listeners will know that I have an affinity for shamans, and they just make me smile. So today I'm joined by another shaman streamer. He's an orc shaman on Herod, and he sat down with me for this week's interview. He's Pohgren. You can find him streaming on Twitch at twitch.tv/Pohgren. Find him on YouTube. He's Pohgren there. And on Twitter, you can find him. He's Pohgren Streams at Pohgren Streams. Before we get started, I want to inform you of a few ways that you can elevate your experience. You can't see this, but I'm using my hands to raise your experience up. But I have a phone number you can call if you feel like joining in the conversation. The number you can call to leave a message is 949-407-9198. That's 949-407-9198. If you heard about something I didn't cover, if you want to join in, if you want to say something to me, if you felt like I missed an important detail, feel free to call in and get me back on track. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at Jaman the Shaman, so you know more about what I'm up to and how you can be involved. I'm also on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/ you guessed it, Jaman. With all that out of the way, let's get this podcast started. What's news, everyone? Let me tell you the news this week. I want to start off with World of Warcraft, classic World of Warcraft. So there was a blue post. I don't know if you guys heard about this. The Rumblings of War are coming. Warsong Gulch, Alterac Valley opening in WoW Classic simultaneously on all realms the week of December 10th. At the same time, elemental invasions will occur in Kalimdor, with blazing, thundering, watery, and whirling invaders appearing in Ungoro Crater, Ajara, Winterspring, and Silithus, respectively. They've detached the content unlocked from the plan that they previously announced. Blackwing Lair and Darkmoon Fair are coming in early 2020, and more dates on that will come in December. Honestly, I'm a little worried about Battlegrounds being released. It's really quick, it's another thing pushed out, and it's just accelerating the timeline again. It honestly doesn't matter that much in the long run, but I just don't like the game being accelerated. It feels like Blizzard doesn't believe in its own game. I get this feeling that Blizzard wants to push out the next content to keep people playing because the game isn't, good enough. Because the world changing is one of the core philosophies with Classics design and MMOs entirely. This whole idea that you have to keep pushing out new content, making the game continue to evolve. That's how you keep people playing and keep people paying that subscription. But I honestly believe that a static MMO that changes very slowly is far superior to a game that changes every month. But secondary to Battlegrounds, Blizzard also announced those elemental invasions. So what exactly are elemental invasions? Well, they're periodic events that happen around Kalimdor. So at the beginning of an elemental invasion, portals will open to the elemental plane, and invaders will begin to pass through. During an invasion, you'll find 2 to 3 times as many elementals in the area, usually slightly higher in level than the standard ones found there. At some point during the invasion, the elemental leader will appear and begin yelling challenges that can be heard all in the area. While the elemental leaders are alive, more and more invaders will continue to spawn. So once the leader's been destroyed, no new invaders will appear, but although you can kill all the ones that are still left, they're not going to just despawn once the leader dies. There's no timetable yet for exactly how long these last. On WoW Wiki, we can see they say about 3 days is the cooldown on these. But they have seen the water elemental lady come in within 48 hours. So we're going to see exactly what World of Warcraft, what Blizzard does for their servers, how long these elemental invasions will occur and when they'll come back. It seems like a really easy way to farm extra, elemental stuff, all those elemental goodies and stuff you can buy on the auction house. These events will allow you to farm a specific one a little bit more for each server, right? The server economy will increase for those items. So you can, again, as they said, you can farm stuff. So Fireplume Ridge and Ungoro will spawn these green fire elementals. Rock elementals, you can see them spawning in northeast Ajara. They're going to be in the same area as some elite giants, so you got to be a little bit careful. Lake Keltharil in Winterspring will spawn water elementals. And finally, air elementals will spawn in northwest Silithus. So that's the stuff coming out. A lot of people are excited about this. I see it on Twitter. Tons of people excited about Battlegrounds coming out. Like, finally, oh, thank God we can finally get out of this menace of World PvP. But honestly, I'm having a lot of fun in World PvP. I think all those consumables that people stocked up are going to slowly fade out. All these things these people did to prepare for it, they're going to have to use this money. They're going to have to go back to farming. People are going to have to go back to farming. You're going to have to see people getting back to their money. All the mats are going up in price. Low-level herbs are going up in price. It's really interesting to see. It's going to be different, I guess, with Battlegrounds. You're not going to have as many consumables used, right? Because it's a set match. As soon as you die, you're back in the game. It's really quick. So it's not like such a bad... Dying is not such a big deal in a Battleground, right? If you're trying to farm honor, you're going to kill people, and you're going to die, and you're going to come back and kill people. And that's great. I think it'll be really good as a shaman to be in a Battleground, but I also really enjoy this world PvP. I feel I don't want to die. I want dying to be a really bad thing, and it is. It feels horrible to die in world PvP because I have this huge run back, and then I just get camped, especially if it's a rogue. I have a lot of frustrations with world PvP. That's all I'm saying. But I also think they should stick to it for a little bit longer. I don't want Battlegrounds out for a little bit longer. I want to enjoy this time because this is only going to happen now. It's only going to happen once. Once we get Battlegrounds, it's gone. This whole experience is gone, and I don't have the time to no-life it and play constantly. So for the people that are no-lifing, I'm sure Battlegrounds are fantastic, okay? I'm sure that Battlegrounds coming out is a great thing for the people that are no-lifing. But for me, for the guy who only gets to play a little bit, I get to go out for a couple hours, and that's a lot. That's a lot of time, actually, a couple hours every day to play. It's not quite the same, okay? It's not. I don't get to be on for 20 hours a day. I get, 2, 3, 4 hours a day. Awesome. I want to play PvP. I want to fight. I want to complain. I want to get mad at the rogues killing me. I want this. It's just enjoyable. I get this honor. I'm getting a lot of honor because I'm going out in a small group, usually either by myself or with one other person. And we get a lot of honor if we actually kill somebody. But then we get these huge Zerg groups come by, and then it's like a metagame in itself. I'm going to go, oh, let's go to Ungoro. Oh, no, there's a Zerg in Ungoro. We can't fight here. This is silly. We're not going to get any honor. We're trying to find, people that are by themselves, alone. Oh, there's a 58 right there. Perfect. Oh, there's a 48 right there. Oh, we get some experience. Honestly, I saw a 47 the other day, and I had the temptation of helping him level so that he could then die when he turned 48. But then again, I don't know how exactly close to leveling he is, so I can't tell if he's actually ripe for the picking. But, you keep in mind, every time you run past that area, you check his level. Oh, did he level up yet? No, he's still alive. Leave him alive. That's fine. Let him get 48 because I need something to feed on. And that's great. Like, it's a great, I don't know, maybe it sucks for leveling. Maybe on the whole it sucks. I don't know. I just really enjoy this moment right now of world PvP being the way you get honor. And it is a brawl. It is dirty. It is horrible. It is frustrating, and it's awesome. I love it. It's everything I love about classic WoW, okay? I love the frustrations. I love the slow pace. I love not getting things instantly. And, Battlegrounds are that. Battlegrounds are not bad. I enjoy Battlegrounds. I'm going to love Battlegrounds when they come out. But I do want to experience this, and I want to continue experiencing this. But, it's all right. We'll see. I'm sure it'll be fun. I'm sure the game's going to continue, and I'm sure I'm going to keep playing, so whatever. The next thing I want to talk about is Brad McQuaid. So if you don't know who this is, he died. He's a game developer. I mean, he's insane. He was 51 years old. Brad helped create and is known as being the formative mind behind the game EverQuest. It's the MMO that so many have copied. Honestly, World of Warcraft wouldn't exist in its current state without EverQuest. EverQuest spawned this idea of they wanted to make an MMO because the developers were playing EverQuest and said, hey, we should make our own MMO. We should do a Warcraft MMO. And boom, World of Warcraft. So a lot of the features and systems that we love were started in EverQuest, so you can thank Brad McQuaid for that. John Smedley, the former president of Sony Online Entertainment and Daybreak Games Company, left the following tribute on Twitter. He said, Brad was an amazing, talented creator, and EverQuest wouldn't exist without his genius. He will be missed. And honestly, he will be. It's I can't say that I knew much about him before his death, but reading about him and learning about him and finding out all this stuff, it really, wow, incredible. Just a huge influence on the MMO community and gaming community and things that happen. So he's gone. Brad McQuaid died, age 51. The next thing I want to talk about, Google Stadia. Google Stadia is launched to a murmur. Okay, I don't know if you guys even know what this is. Google Stadia is the streaming video game service for Google. They released it this week to very little fanfare. Google's trying to create this platform and then improve it over time with all the things people want. So the problem at the moment is that it feels completely empty without the bells and whistles. So there's no achievements. There's like your friends list. You can't really like a recruit friends thing. There's all these social features that are not included right now. And to get it right now, to buy the system, you have to actually spend over $100 to buy some hardware to get the Google Stadia Pro package, whatever it's called, just to buy the premium hardware. And the whole point of the program was not to have to buy hardware to play your favorite games. The lineup of games that are out with the release are also suboptimal. There's not much to the platform at the moment. So Google is releasing the platform very bare bones, this minimum viable product. And there's 12 initial games announced for the product. They had Assassin's Creed Odyssey. They had Destiny 2. They have this game called Guilt. They have Just Dance 2020, Kine, Mortal Kombat 11, Red Dead Redemption 2, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Samurai Showdown, Thumper, and then Tomb Raider. But at the last minute, Google announced 10 more games being added to their day one launch lineup. Attack on Titan, Final Battle 2, Farming Simulator 2019, Final Fantasy 15, Football Manager 2020, Grid 2019, Metro Exodus, NBA 2K20, Rage 2, Trials Rising, and Wolfenstein Youngblood. The only exclusive to the Google Stadia platform is the game Guilt, and it doesn't seem like anything special, honestly. It's a puzzle adventure mystery game, and honestly, some of the gameplay, I have no interest in it. It looks like a cartoonish version of like a Zelda, Resident Evil, like together, like a Last of Us, kind of trying to get to this mystery, and I don't know if you can tell how much I don't think this looks interesting, but it's the only exclusive, so I feel like I have to talk about it. Also, you have to buy the games for full price. This is Google's model. They're deciding you have to pay a subscription for the service to access Stadia, but you also must pay full price for each game. So all in all, the platform seems like something that could be good if they changed a lot about it. So as it is, Stadia is just another Google project that they attempted, and it will fall to the wayside without some major updates and changes. Lots of things are planned for Stadia, lots of quality of life and social features, but none of them are in at the moment, so it's a wait-and-see scenario, but I'm not holding my breath. I think Stadia is just a strange thing that Google is releasing, and it's honestly baffling, this whole thing. Maybe it'll be great. Maybe my whole brain will change, man. Maybe it'll flip a switch once they update once they update the platform a bunch. All right, so that's what's news, guys. I hope you enjoyed the interview this week. Here it is, my interview with another World of Warcraft streamer YouTuber. Sorry, I know it's been a lot of World of Warcraft streamer YouTubers recently, but I love the game. I talk about it all the time, stream it all the time, so check it out. Here it is. Hello, listeners. Today I'm being joined by another World of Warcraft classic streamer and YouTuber. He's an orc shaman playing on Herod. He's playing Enhance and delivering classic WoW knowledge bombs to all his viewers. He's Pohgren. How are you, man?
Doing good. How you doing?
Good, man. I'm so happy to have you here. I'm glad you're here, and I want to learn more about you. So the first question I have for you, and this is a question I ask everyone, is what's the first game that you ever played that left an impression on you?
So outside of World of Warcraft and Warcraft games, it would have to be Tomb Raider. I have this kind of connection with my family with it. It was this cool adventure to kind of, Indiana Jones is like one of my favorite movie series. And then you're now playing an actual Tomb Raider going into these like lost temples, these faraway lands. It kind of, sparked my imagination a lot as a kid. it was a little hard kind of trying to choose one of those. One of the many games I've gotten to play because I have been a avid gamer for a really long time where a lot of people used books to kind of entertain themselves. I was all about video games. I have dyslexia. And as a kid, it was actually really bad. I didn't get up to a 4th grade reading level until I was like in the 9th grade. So video games were my outlet to explore fantasy realms and worlds and far off places without having to read a book.
Gotcha. Would that would definitely, and I'm just imagining now that any game with actual reading in it would just be off the table. You'd be like, no, I can't play this game.
I got to like Baldur's Gate. I could do part of the storyline was always spoken to you. Planar Torment. I could do that, but a lot of the old school like CRPGs and a lot of anything that was super hardcore like D&D related. Yeah, no, that was off the table for a really long time. It was a lot of action shooters or action adventure games, platformers. Gotcha. Absolutely love platformers, but yeah.
And Tomb Raider was this what console was that on, or was this
that was PS1
on PlayStation 1? Okay,
yeah. Tomb Raider, I think it's Lara Croft Tomb Raider is the name of the first game. You play a British female adventurer, and you start off with like in the mountains of the Himalayan mountains, fighting off like you start off in like an ice cave, and you slowly make your way into like an ancient temple, and you find a little bit more about the temple, and you got to find secrets and all that stuff. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, this is the one, the iconic one with the triangle boobs in them, right? The polygon
Boob
boobs.
Raider.
Yeah,
yeah.
It was, and it was like, oh, look how scandalous we are with these triangles,
shorts and triangles. Yeah.
Oh my god,
all the pixelated boobage.
Gotcha. So what game would you say you moved on? When did you start playing WoW? Would that be like the next game that really influenced you, or were there any games in between WoW and Tomb Raider?
So in between like WoW and Tomb Raider, I mean, like there's Donkey Kong, there's Resident Evil, there's Dino Crisis, there's Final Fantasy VII.
Are we talking about?
Donkey Kong Country, and then Diddy Kong's Conquest.
I don't even remember Diddy Kong's Quest.
That's the second one technically, where you play Diddy and Dixie specifically.
Okay, that was?
It's got the best soundtrack in my opinion.
Are we talking about the Super Nintendo?
Super Nintendo.
Okay.
So we're talking about Donkey Kong Country, and then the next one that came out was Donkey Kong Country, Diddy Kong's Quest, or Diddy Kong's Conquest, or something like that.
Okay.
I gotta look it up real quick, but yeah, it's got one of the best. I'll link you the soundtrack later. It's got one of the best soundtracks. You've probably played it. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
But yeah, no. Outside of those games, like, so there's a turning point where I kind of got off the console and started playing more PC games when my dad kind of taught me how to. First off, install a DOS game, make a batch file. He taught me how to play my video games while he was away. My father was in the Navy, so I couldn't be like, "Hey, Dad, can you just come, help me boot up this game on the computer real quick?" He taught me how to program DOS when I was like 5 or 6. Like same with my brother.
Wow.
So Warcraft 1 and 2 would have been a huge thing for me, which I absolutely adore those games. I've played them a lot. Warcraft 2 more than 1, because 1, let's face it, it's not the easiest game to play. But I played like a lot of RTSs too, Age of Empires, Age of Mythology, obviously Warcraft in this case.
Mm-hmm.
So Warcraft 2 was that next kind of turning point, I would say, the like major marathon game for me, monolith game. Like I had a lot of these other ones in between that I absolutely adored, and then there's Warcraft 2. Now, I never played it online like through Battle.net and stuff like that, but I used to spend hours making custom maps just to play through them on God mode.
Wow.
And kill stuff. I used to delve into find out you can do the map editor, you can spawn all the different like mobs, and then they had specific mobs that they were either test mobs or they were like named after certain developers. Like you get that with Warcraft 3, and you also get it in like Age of Empires 2 when you go to summon certain mobs. So I'd play around with that. I'd play around with the different test buildings and some of the other actual buildings, and get to see their sprites and stuff like that. Sometimes I'd just make a map that was a flat plane, and I'd build up literally as much units as I could on one side and units on the other side, and literally just had a giant war to see who would actually win.
But, yeah, I mean, it's almost the auto battle simulator that we have
that you have nowadays. Yeah,
yeah, these games, 1,000 ducks versus one knight kind of thing.
Yeah, it's thinking back to it, I'm like, wow, I was really bored as a kid.
Yeah, I mean,
but I had a lot of fun doing it. Warcraft 2, it left a huge impression on me.
Gotcha. And Tides of Darkness was the expansion to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was that? Yeah.
Yep, correct. You actually get to go over into the you get to go to Draenor, and you have to then basically are Khadgar and the group of adventurers that get stranded beyond the Dark Portal.
Mm-hmm.
So you, as the Alliance campaign, you're fighting with them. The Horde campaign of that one, I do believe, is them fighting their way back to Azeroth to get like the Eye of the Skull of Gul'dan, the Eye of Dalaran, and I think it's Medivh's spellbook, because they're trying to open up more portals. At that time, Ner'zhul is specifically, yeah.
I'm hoping we see more of him in the Shadowlands. Not that I think I'm going to even play it, but Ner'zhul
Storyline,
yeah.
I definitely would be keeping a track of the storyline myself. Like, I may not play it, but I'll definitely watch all the cinematics. I'll watch Noble create his, normal like storyline telling that he does. I'll go watch all the videos I can on YouTube, kind of scenario.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So when did you start playing WoW then? I mean, we have Warcraft 2. Was Warcraft 3 a thing before? I mean, obviously it came in between. Did you play Warcraft 3?
Yeah, so Warcraft 3, I definitely played. My family saw how much I loved the first game. They obviously bought me the second one. I put as many hours into that as I did with Warcraft 2. I did the same thing, custom maps. I played through the storylines like crazy. I absolutely adored that game. And I didn't actually get to play Frozen Throne for a while, which is kind of funny because that's something I didn't experience until I was actually in college. Yeah. Because I wasn't like keeping up with it at that point. I had moved on to some other stuff because we were dealing with my father getting out of the Navy. We were moving around a lot more at that time, so I didn't really have a scope with that. The fact that like there had been an expansion that had come out, but I remember on the eve, like I would say, it's probably about 2-3 months before we moved back to where we live now. Well, I live on my own, but like the state we're in right now, which is Wisconsin. My dad had sit me down. He's like, "Hey, I know you really like Warcraft 3, and I saw there's this trailer for another Warcraft game." And I'm like, "Oh, cool! It's 2003 at this time."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What's this? What's this game you're talking about?" And he sits down with me, and we watch the original like cinematic trailer that they had released for the World of Warcraft game that was coming out. I got to play it that next year at a friend's house. He had made a character for me, which was a Tauren shaman, because I thought Tauren were really cool.
Yeah.
And I wanted to run around with a totem in my hand. He's like, "Well, you can't really run around with a totem in your hand, but I can make you a shaman Tauren." And I was like, that sounds cool with me.
Yeah.
I got to play it for about like 8 hours the first time. I wouldn't get off his PC. He got angry at me.
Wow.
I got up to like level 10. I got to level 10 in about 8 hours. And because I was playing around, I was checking all these things out. I was like, "Oh, what's this place I'm in? What's Mulgore? Like, where are all the orcs?" But I didn't actually get to truly play the game until about the end of BC. So I got to play on this friend's computer the one time. And then I got the game, and my parents didn't realize you needed a subscription for it.
Yeah.
And they're like, they can't justify it at the time. They're like, "That's too much money. We already spent $60 on the game. What are you talking about?" So I never got them to turn around and kind of like agree to get it until I want to say right after they had dropped Sunwell in BC. Okay. And I was like, "Let's get it now. We can do it." We're like, we have a computer that can actually handle running the game. My parents did it. So I got up to like level 30. And then the subscription ran out. My parents were just like, "Yeah, again, it's wasting money. We shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing this." And I'm like, you know what? Okay, fine. So I got to level 30. My character sat there. And then the Wrath of the Lich King came out. And that was right when I went to college. This is also when I found out about the Frozen Throne expansion that came out for Warcraft 3. And I was like, "Oh, this makes sense. I should probably play this game." I may or may not have torrented it.
Yeah.
Played it. Blizzard, don't hate me.
Yeah.
I got into Frozen Throne, not Frozen Throne, sorry, Wrath of the Lich King. I got my own computer for college. I instantly went out and got money for the game. I got money for the subscriptions for like an entire year, and I'm like, this is my life now. I'm going to try playing this while going to college, which was probably not the best idea. Still passed though.
Nice. Yeah, that's better than that's good.
Wrath of the Lich King, I'd say, is my true experience into raiding, into PvP, understanding what my class actually could do. I didn't play a shaman back then. I played a warrior.
Gotcha. Why a warrior? Why was the warrior? So you started with a shaman. You've got those 8 hours in, and then you got what? You got why a warrior for your first class?
So I tried another shaman out, and my buddy looked at me and he's like, "You have no idea how to play this game. I'm going to teach you from the basics. You're going to play a character that has absolutely the easiest skill set to basically learn."
I feel
and
like
you can be an orc.
didn't warriors have stances still back again?
They did.
Yeah.
But he's like, you're not going to worry about any of the stances. You're just going to worry about being in that one. And he helped me like keybind all my abilities.
Oh wow, this is a nice friend, dude. This is a good friend you had.
Yeah, he's my main tank too.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
So he helped me out with my character, and I leveled. I got all the way up to 80. And I raided, and I didn't just raid. I became the #1 warrior on my server towards the end of the expansion, and then that carried on into Cataclysm. I kind of there was like 3 of us that were all in the same guild. We kind of flip back and forth between the top warriors according to World of the Logs at the time, or whatever other system we were using. I can't remember, but I got into what the game was about at that point.
Yeah,
and also during this time, I was like, hey, I played this, way back when TBC was out, like, oh, can we go do that stuff? And they all looked at me like, why would you want to go do old content? And that is the point I kind of got not discouraged, but I was like, I don't really know if I want to continue playing WoW. We were in the middle of Cataclysm, and I'm like, I want to go play all this stuff that I never got to experience.
Yeah.
I want to go actually like raid Black Temple. I want to go do Molten Core. And everyone's like, yeah, just because it's going to take too much time. You have to go do all this rep grinding. You got to go through this really long chain of quests. And I'm like, fine, I'll go do it myself. So when I wasn't raiding with my guild, I was in the old worlds, farming up rep, getting items.
Yeah.
And I went and soloed MC. I went and got the Hedrexian Waterlords, rep up. I think they had changed how many, because I know I was able to at least get up to Rag at one point, because I don't think I had enough water, but I think they had it. The what are they? My brain. The flasks of water. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. There's one that comes out. That's an unlimited one, but it lasts. You can only use it once an hour or so, I think. Right?
Yes. So I got that.
Yeah.
Just can't remember the name of it though. Aqua Quintessence. There we go. So I got the one that lasts an hour. And just playing around with it, trying it out, going and trying to solo at 80 was still hard, especially on a warrior at the time. And 85 was a bit easier. But I went back and did all this stuff because I thought it was really interesting to me. And I was kind of, with Cataclysm, I was kind of like, I like where they're going, but I don't like the fact that there's certain things they're taking away. I didn't like LFR. And then Mr. Pandaria came out, and I was just like, yeah, I'm done. For the time being, at least.
Mr. Pandaria, really, because a lot of people say that Mr. Pandaria was one of the better expansions. And it's the one I've missed. I never played any of Mist's. But every time I hear about it, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Mist, that was such a good expansion. You remember that?" I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I got to play a little bit of Mist Pandaria. I didn't mind it. I didn't mind the whole Panda Pack. That didn't dissuade me from it. What dissuaded me from it was the talent trees and my class being pared down ability wise. Because I was playing Warrior at the time, I felt like they kind of changed up how Fury Warrior played that initial Mist Pandaria pack. And I was like, I got so used to playing it, and I'm like, I need to focus on college. I'm not really into the game currently right now, so let's just go ahead and I'll shelve it.
Yeah,
I came back at the end of Mr. Pandaria, right as I heard the announcement about WoD. I thought WoD was going to be awesome because I'm like, we get to go back in time, we get to explore this section that I've only got to play in Warcraft 2 and read about.
Yeah.
And after that, I got into WoD, and I was just like, you know what? This is also not doing it for me. And then Legion came around, that still wasn't doing it for me. And then my buddy was like, hey, they have these things called private servers. And I had heard about them previously, and I was kind of interested in it, but I didn't really play around a lot on them for the longest time. I got into Northdale when it first came out, and Lights Hope, and then I also played on K3, Chronos 3.
Okay.
Again, I only dabbled in it, though. After they shut down Astarias, I was like, I don't really know if I want to sink time into something that could possibly just be ripped from my hands in a scenario. Yeah. Which I think a lot of people had that kind of same sentiment.
Yeah. I heard about Nostralius being out and being shut down. And like I've heard a lot of people tell me that Nostralius being shut down was the thing that taught them about private servers and it made them go out and find a private server to jump on. But for me, when I heard Nostralius shut down, that solidified that I don't want to be a part of that because I don't want my game or my character to be ripped apart, so I never joined a private server.
I had heard of I think it was called Scriptcraft, which became I think what we have now for Northdale and Lights Hope or whatever. Like I'm pretty sure that's where that change came in, or at least that's what that became into, I should say. And then I also played on I think it's Phoenix, right? I think
I've heard of
one
Phoenix,
of the other Yeah, it's one of the ones that was a little bit more scummier. You could pay for items, you could pay for levels, all that stuff. I played on that.
Okay.
But yeah, I originally I kind of dabbled a little bit, and I was like, yeah, this isn't really WoW. It's not really worth playing. I'll just go ahead and move on and play the actual expansions. And then as the time went on, and kind of like I found out about these private servers, I'm like, Blizzard has to do something about it. Like they have to do it. There's enough people playing on these that want this. Why isn't Blizzard like just making the announcement already? Like, come on.
Yeah, it was, and again, I mean, you can say it every time. Everyone, it's been said thousands of times. The think you think you do, but you don't. By Jalen Brack, it's just it's ridiculous. Of course, people love this, and you can see it still with the amount of people that are playing it. Again, I don't know Blizzard what they feel about the monetization of Classic, if it's making enough money for them, if it has enough of a margin for them to continue supporting and loving. But the game itself is amazing, so I'm happy it's out.
I have some speculation about that. So when we were at BlizzCon, I got a chance to pop into some conversations that was being had between Omar Gonzalez. We had Ale there. We had Navik. We had Melderon Def Camp. A couple others were just asking him some questions, and I was obviously there to see these guys and hang out with them for the con. And Omar had basically said that they were blown away with how they knew it was going to be good, but they didn't realize how good it was going to be. Like Blizzard still had some lower expectations than what has actually happened, which we can see that right now with how the game's being received. We saw that announcement about having the largest quarterly increase of any expansion they've ever had, which is kind of mind-blowing. But I think I did the math right, and I originally had said like, oh yeah, we're like 30 million players. I think it's a bit closer actually to, if you take World of Warcraft as a whole, about 8 million, and I would say we're the fatter half of that 8 million as Classic WoW players. Okay. I would say there's probably about maybe 3.5 that play current day WoW, retail WoW, heavily. And then the other half of that is us as Classic WoW players, and that number is growing by the day. So theoretically, we're technically close to, if not back to, TBC early Wrath of the Lich King numbers.
Yeah, I believe it. I don't know.
As a whole. World of Warcraft as a whole, sorry.
Yeah, and Classic is just been, I don't know, man. I just playing it. It's just like, wow, this is a good game again. Like, this is a good game. Like, playing retail, playing Battle for Azeroth, and I feel like I'm speaking to, I mean, this has been said and done, and everyone understands this. I feel like that is in the video game community and plays Classic and understands and plays it every day. That retail just is missing something, and Classic has it.
And I don't know what it is. I keep trying to figure out what retail has that Classic. Oh, sorry, what retail doesn't have that Classic does. Part of it, I think, is seeing people in the world, but I'm like, I can still see people in the world in retail, but in a different way. I have to be in a city. Yeah, I can still run into people out in the wild, but it's a little bit more rare. Maybe it's the level numbers and the gear and all of that. Well, still in Classic, sometimes you are just chasing down nameless purples and you're not really thinking about what you're actually wearing. It's like, oh, look, it's gear. I can go ahead and grab it. Mm-hmm. Same thing on retail. Retail has become a game of numbers. It's not a gear and not a game of like, oh my God, that dude's got a corrupted Ashbringer. It's, oh my God, that dude pulls the highest DPS because he was able to get gear that gave him the best stats. Mm-hmm. Like, it's going from being able to look at somebody and go, I can name every single piece of gear on them, to being, look, I can name that player because I know how good he is.
That's true.
Which is it's a bit of a different way in which you look at the game, especially with like the abilities and everything too. I think it's a big thing with Classic WoW. As a shaman, I can put totems down. I have my chain heals, like a chain lightnings. I can do all of it at once, even if I'm like enhancement, for instance.
Right.
I know they're planning on changing this when it comes to like Shadowlands. But like a shaman right now, I don't think I get I get like maybe I think healing surge, and that's it. Like I don't have any of my other healing abilities. I don't really have any of my healing totems. I think maybe I do, but like it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't equate to the same. It's I'm focused on auto attacking and auto attacking only, or look at all these items I have in my toolkit. Let me go ahead and pull something out of my tool chest and just slap it on the ground real quick. Like Frost Mages being able to use fire spells still in Classic WoW versus retail, where you have to use only frost spells, or only fire spells, or whatever you may be. There's a little bit more, I would say, pigeonholing in retail where there isn't in Classic. There's a little bit more freedom in Classic where there's a little bit more structure I would say, in retail, especially around class builds, around talents, around raiding and dungeoning. Like, you can do it all within a box without having to talk to another person. You still can do it. Like, you can still have a raiding guild. You can still go hang out with friends, but you're not like organically doing it. It's more what's the better way of putting it? It's more structured. It's more mechanical. Like, you can push a button to get a group of people versus going to meet somebody. There's almost a little bit less heart in the current game versus retail versus classic.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those. It's honestly, for me, it's a mobile game. It's a game I turn on, I play it, I get my whatever check marks done for the day, and then I log off. And then classic is a different beast because when I log into classic, I'm not thinking like, what do I do today? Like, yes, of course, I'm thinking what do I do today? But it's not like, okay, let me get this, and this done for the day, and then I'm done. Like, there's always something more I could do if I really wanted to.
Exactly.
And retail, also the whole items. I think that the point you brought up about items, not having it, like looking at someone's character and being like, oh, he's really good because he got Hand of Justice, or oh no, his Hand of Justice Titan forged and has a socket, so therefore it's good. He only got the crappy version of Hand of Justice. That feels terrible to me. That is really bad. Titan forging is I think it's okay leveling, but I don't think they should have Titan forging while you're max level.
No, I agree. I think Titan forging and then raid difficulties make raiding trivial, I think. Like, oh, look, I'm doing normal, but then I can also do heroic, mythic, and then like mythic plus, right? And then there's like mythic keystone or something like that.
Yeah. So I've harped on this so much about
I wanted to bring this up because I was listening to one of your other podcasts and you brought up about like, what if they just took away raid difficulty? And I'm like, that's genius. Like, I think that would make raiding worth it in my mind, because if you make raiding no longer have a difficulty, you make larger dungeons, maybe have some complex fighting in it, but you don't like put it up on a PTR. Like, the one problem I have with a lot of the rating that goes on is everything is up on the PTR, so everyone already has a plan for going to play that dungeon, and it gets done in a week, versus letting people try it out the moment it releases, letting them build their own strategies and their own theories, because this is what made Classic WoW so awesome. We know how to do all the boss fights now, but back in the day we didn't. We were a bunch of people just like jumping into a room expecting to be able to kill like a tank and spank boss, but then realizing you have to banish these mobs. You have to make sure you don't get kicked into the lava. You got to make sure your back is to a wall. You got to let your tank pull aggro. The entire concept of aggro is no longer in current day WoW.
That's true.
Like,
yeah.
Current day WoW, like, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, you can't pull threat. I don't know if it's changed. I know at some point they were changing Battle for Azeroth. I think they were changing it to make tanks a little more worried about threat, but I know in Legion there was zero threat like worry. It was just you do whatever you want, and the tank will hold it. You can thunderclap once, and he's got threat for the whole fight. Yeah.
And what I was gonna say is, with retail WoW, you don't have to, like, you have to rate. You have difficulty in raids. It's a lot of mechanics. You have to dodge here, dodge there, but it's not the same. It's a different kind of difficulty. And it's a different kind of experience. You're right. It's a mobile game at the end of the day. It's about getting it done quick, and then moving on from it. Whereas Classic WoW is an event. I'm going to go do a 40-man raid. It's not going to be technically hard in concept, but you're now wrangling 40 people. You're now having to make sure those 40 people are all standing in the correct areas.
Yeah.
You got to make sure, like, somebody's pet doesn't pull and then wipe the entire 40-man raid, and then you're costing 40 people time and money, and it's a different kind of difficulty. And I think the classic difficulty is almost uncreatable except for in this package. Like, Blizzard moves forward to try to remove like, if you look at the way World of Warcraft has evolved, it's moved steadily towards that more, it's open to everyone. It's easy, it's quick, it's fast. Like, come on, do a raid finder real quick. Come on, do a dungeon finder real quick. Just go ahead and you do this thing real quick. You'll get an item that allows you to go, like when they did the token system for, like, I remember having to farm frost tokens in Wrath of the Lich King just to get some like pre-raid gear. And like, okay, I'd hop on for like an hour, do the one dungeon, have my thing for the day, and then get off. Dailies in general, like, it turned it into a much more casual thing.
Yeah, you have your plan planned out. Right now, I can go farm. I mean, especially with the honor system, I can farm honor, I can farm gold, I can go farm an item in an instance, and all of these are useful and helpful and different ways to make my character better. Classic WoW also has itemization. If I'm fighting a rogue, I might want to throw on a shield and a one-hander. If I'm fighting a warrior, shield and one-hander. If I'm fighting a mage, probably throw my two-hander on. Maybe throw some resist gear, maybe a different trinket, maybe a different engineering tool because I'm fighting a different class. In retail, I don't know if engineering has anything. I have no idea because I haven't played in so long.
Oh, yeah.
But this whole idea of like I'm fighting a different class, so I change up the way I play, or I change up my item set, seems completely foreign, and that's like an RPG element that I feel is lost. And I mean, I can go on for hours about why I love Classic and why it's so good.
Yeah, no, I totally get that.
But just video games in general, it's to me, it's one of these things that our society has not made into. They've made into a game, right? Like if you put I play video games on a resume or something, it's like obviously no one's gonna take that seriously. The resume. It's just one of these. It's these pastimes. It's so much fun. They're so good, and I that's what the whole podcast is about: is getting people to understand what. Is to share that, is to build this community, these people that love video games, and I just meeting somebody else that loves video games is it's a special thing. It's so great.
It is. We're not just a bunch of like trolls that live in our parents' basements. We actually are a community of friends and family.
Yeah. Oh man, like I'll go to work and I'll talk to people and I have to like do you play video games? And they're like, yes, no, maybe. And I'm okay, good. And I have like this bubbling thing inside me that I just need to get out. I need to talk about.
Yeah.
And yeah, just it's really great. Sorry, I'm rambling about video games again, which
we're okay to ramble about video games. Here's what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm lucky I work in IT, so I'm surrounded by nerds. But before that, it definitely was like when I worked at like in a sales job. I was like, I see you're wearing a Lord of the Rings shirt.
Yeah.
Do you happen to dabble in D&D?
Yeah.
Or do you know what Warcraft is? And yeah.
Yeah, every Overwatch shirt I see, I'm like, Yeah.
You probably only play Overwatch, damn it.
Yeah.
Your loss.
I saw I saw a kid, and this is a completely random. This is just it was a kid. We were wearing a ninja T-shirt. And he was, I don't know, he started talking about Fortnite. And he was just like blown away that I knew what Fortnite was. And I was just like, dude, like you're, like, come on, Ninja. Just because I'm an adult. Like, come on. Like, but his dad didn't. I don't know if his dad must know Ninja. He bought on the T-shirt. I have no idea what happened, but anyway, yeah, that was it's cool seeing all this stuff.
That's funny. I'd really, yeah.
When did you start streaming and creating content? Like, when did you start your YouTube? When did you start your Twitch stream? And what spurred you into that idea of doing that?
So originally, I created an actual YouTube channel 6 years ago that no longer exists, or it probably does exist, but I don't think it has anything on it right now. Me and my buddy were huge Game Grumps fans. So we were like, let's do a Game Grump. Like, let's just play games and be dorks on the couch. And that didn't really work out that well. We didn't have like the audio equipment for it. We like bought really cheap mics. But that was like 6 years ago. I had this idea that I wanted to make content playing video games primarily. It didn't have to be Warcraft. I was like, I just want to play games and have people watch me play games because it's something I loved doing as a kid. I loved watching my older brother play. I loved watching my parents play Tomb Raider. I liked having that, like, I was the audience, or even vice versa. Like, there'd be a really difficult part my parents couldn't do or my brother couldn't do, and they'd throw me the controller, and I'd be like, yeah, I got you. Let me go ahead and get this done for you real quick. It's something I always liked doing. And that was like 6 years ago I started that. When it comes to streaming, though, it's probably about 2 years ago. Again, I didn't even think about World of Warcraft and doing that like full time. I was like, I'm never going to make it in World of Warcraft. Not as popular as it used to be. Like, no one's going to really want to watch me. So I'll play PUBG. And I played PUBG for about like half a year and streamed and got a few followers and joined a stream community, and
Yeah.
that didn't really pan out for me because that game made me angry. Because I'm a competitive person at heart. I really am a competitive person. I used to do competitive. I did like esports. I was a part of a League of Legends college team. We weren't great, but I was part of a college team.
Yeah.
But like I wanted to do that. I thought that'd be really cool to be like a competitive like Dota player, a League player. And I was like, no, I'll go ahead and step back from that. And I was like, let's play PUBG. And I got really big into PUBG. And then I got too angry at PUBG. And I'm like, this game isn't actually that fun. I'm not really enjoying myself. I don't want to play it. And I stopped streaming too because I felt like it was more of a chore at that point too. Because I'm like, I don't know what to play. And then as I started hearing more and more news about Classic WoW, I started following like Tips Out. I started following Def Camp. I'd been following Def Camp and Melderon since the fall of Nastarius.
Yeah.
I had started I started watching Cargos and a couple of these other guys. And I'm like, you know what? They're doing it. They're doing what I've always thought about doing, which is bringing content to people who want to watch somebody play a game. Like I used to want to watch my brother and my family.
Mm-hmm.
Why not do it? And that was probably about 6.5 months ago, 7 months ago now. I made my first YouTube video, which was a quiz based off of classic wins. Not based off of, but like he inspired me. I'm like, a quiz sounds really easy. I'm totally into the lore of the games. Like you can't see me right now, but on my shelf that's off to my left, I have a bunch of the original books like War of the Ancients. I have Lord of the Clans. I have the strategy guides from the original game. I got my Classic WoW. I'm not Classic WoW. I have my Warcraft Collector's Edition, like the vanilla Collector's Edition that was launched. I had a friend that gave me it, so I have like the art book and all the other stuff in it.
Wow.
I have all this Warcraft stuff, and I'm like, I know enough about the game to be slightly dangerous, and I could probably throw a quiz together that would probably stump some people who don't know the basic stuff that I know.
Yeah.
I threw the quiz together. There were some spelling errors, which made me a little, embarrassed, but I needed to get over that because it's a problem I have.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I can do this. And I made another video and I got traction. I had like 100 people watch me, and now I'm up to like 150 people on YouTube. And I'm like, this is cool. I have an audience and I get to play video games with these people who watch my videos right now. Like my guild came up by people who found me through Def Camp and Elderon's Discord. And then we kind of came together and we're like, let's make a guild. And so we made the Elder Council, which is on Harad. I'm the guild leader. I run it with council members. Like I run it as a democracy. So I have other officers who have other tasks, and we come together to vote on something, and then we present it to the guild, and then the guild decides if you want to go forward with it, depending on the large scale, like what's the actual thing? Like, are we merging guilds? Are we going to be doing raid nights? What are we going to, like, what is the discussion? And like all of us who in this guild are very like-minded. We all play video games because it's something we've always done. It's something it's our bonding thing for either our families, our friends, or it's our escape for life. Like, we may not always like our jobs, and sometimes video games are an escape for everyone, for people because of that. I mean, that's a common excuse to play video games. It gives you a chance to decompress, get away, and to focus on yourself again. And it gives you something to work for. It gives you something to kind of, get excited for. Basically, I've now been able to bring that feeling I've wanted to people, and I want to do it more. But I've been doing it probably now. I realized I went a huge tangent there. I've been probably doing it now, like consistently though, for about 7 months.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I was thinking about my first videos. I mean, I go back every once in a while. I get a chance to look. And my first video I ever made that's on my YouTube channel, it's not even framed right. It has big letterboxing on the sides of it. I think it's at like 400p, but like, it's really bad. But that one has a ton of views. It actually has one of my most views of all time because it was this idea. Anyway, it's really funny to look back at what I've been doing, but. Yeah, and again, for me, playing video games and having a community and sharing them gives me a reason to keep playing them, right? Like, because I want to play these games. Like, I really enjoy them, but I can't just sit in my house all day and play games. I need to share myself with. I need to somehow, talk to other people. I need to find an outlet, and it's been great. So what are you going for? What's going on? You just make quizzes all the time, or are you gonna what's your plans?
What my plans would be, which I think would be really nice, is to get into more guide work, and then do more opinion pieces and podcasts, because I think that's really where my my gifts lie. I would say I'm a bit of a talker. If you haven't noticed, I've been able to yammer on for a little bit. But I like talking to people. I like doing this kind of sit down. Let's just discuss the games we like real quick. Let's pick each other's brains and see what's out there. Like let's see where we can draw connections. Be like, yeah, no, I have the exact same feeling about X, Y, and Z or something like that. I definitely would like to get back to that. Maybe make some joke videos because I made like a 7 tips for getting ready for Classic WoW. It's like one of my largest viewed videos too, and it was just a joke video about like divorce your wife, keep your kids for gold farming, eat hot pockets all day, pallets of food. Like I thought that was fun. I think it's pretty simple to make. I think it's pretty easy to just spin out there. I did a Stories by the Hearth for a while too, which is very similar to what your podcast is here, but focus more on like how'd you get your start with World of Warcraft. Gotcha. which we did go over in this as well, but we're also talking about other video games and other stuff. But like I did Def Camp Meltdown, I had Caperfin on there, Gracer Days, Chimley, Dockin, and then I kind of was like, you know what, I'm going to switch gears a little bit and try something else out, and I think that's where I want to get back to, though. I think this is the kind of content I enjoy to listen to, and it's the kind of content I'd like to put out there. Like when you reached out to me, I knew who you were a little bit, but I'm going to just be honest with you. I was like, I don't know who this guy is, but I love doing interviews, so totally I'd be down for it.
Yeah.
And I went and found your podcast, and I'm like, sweet, he's on Spotify. And I literally listened to probably like 5 or 6 of your podcasts at work today to keep me sane.
Oh, wow. That's awesome, dude. Thank you.
I really enjoyed it. I used to listen to a lot of talk radio when we would travel between states. Like I was born in Virginia. We moved to Wisconsin and then New York and then back to Wisconsin. So those are long car rides. And I remember listening to like Casey Kasem and all these other daytime talk radio shows. And I'm like, this dude's voice sounds great. I like what he's talking about. It reminds me of the work I used to do in college. Like I could listen to this guy all day, and I did.
Wow. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem.
That's great. I reaching out to people. I have so many people. I reach out constantly to people, and you were very quick on the uptake, and it was fantastic. And I actually,
it came out of nowhere too. I was just like, "Who's this guy again? Oh wait, I know him."
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem.
That's honestly all the questions I have. I don't have anything else to ask for you. I have we covered basically everything I wanted to cover. Is there anything that you want to tell people? Is there any shout outs or plugs? You have your Twitch stream. It's twitch.tv/Pohgren. Pohgren, Pohgren. There's YouTube, Pohgren. It's Pohgren. You can find him there. It's Twitter @Pohgren Streams, all one word. Anything else you got? What?
I had a question for you.
Sure.
And this is one I think is pretty fun. If there was one thing you could change in Classic WoW, I know a lot of people are like, no changes. But if there was like one thing you could change, what would it be? And it's okay to say that you wouldn't change anything, but yeah.
So for anyone who watches my stream, I think I say #one change like every day as a joke to say like, oh, like mages shouldn't have Frostbolt #one change just because I'm annoyed at the moment that I need Frostbolt gone. For actual change, I want nothing changed. I honestly don't want them to release Burning Crusade. I don't want them to change literally anything about the game because first off, they should focus on making other things that are interesting and good and not worry about like making this better, because I literally think that any change that they make is let the game die. Okay, the game is amazing, it's fantastic as it is. It doesn't need literally anything else. It could be better. Yes, we could tweak something. We could do a little maybe this. Oh, maybe this. Maybe dream moment. Shamans have a tanking spec all of a sudden. Oh God, it's so good. But no, just leave it. Just let it die, dude. Let the game die. You don't change Monopoly every year. You don't change chess every year. Just let the game die. It's good. It won't be played forever, and that's okay. It's just a shining moment right now. The Roman Empire fell. They don't exist anymore. Things die. Things don't have to live forever. Okay? So that's my for changing Classic WoW, don't. Because literally, it's fine. It's a nugget of beautiful things, and at some point we will stop playing it, and that's okay, everybody. Because the world goes on, and new things take its place, and our experiences and our visuals and our bodies grow, and that's I don't know. That's all. That's what I got for you.
I was gonna say I used to be in the ballpark of like North where he was talking about Classic Plus.
Mm.
I thought that would be awesome. I still think inside that'd be cool.
Yeah, it'll be cool because they're gonna
And
do
then
it.
like, I don't know. I don't know anymore.
Well, they're gonna
I
release.
don't think-
They're gonna release new servers. They're
they're gonna release new servers.
Yeah.
They'll do BC. I don't think they'll do Classic Plus. I don't think they'll do the custom content that people were looking for, where it's still vanilla, but now you can go do Grim Batol. You can go do
no.
Ultimate.
Yeah, no. I meant by
Yeah,
Classic
that's-
Plus. I meant like, oh, you can now roll in a new server and you get like, I don't know, like a pet in your bags that
something like that.
because you have a level 60 on one of the first servers. Like, oh,
Yeah.
because you've leveled a character to 60, if you roll on this new server, you get a pet. And now you can show off your pet to people and say, hey, I have a 60 on a different server. And this server has a totally fresh economy. And it's a whole new season and life and world and year. That could keep the game going for even longer.
Yeah.
I don't think they need to add anything like Grim Batol or the Battleground, the Shara's Battleground that was supposed to be
Yeah.
Dota.
I think a lot of people who want that. I know I kind of just pulled some more out of your hair.
Mhm.
When it comes to like the Classic Plus stuff and continuing it, I think having like this is something even Def Camp. Now I know I've talked to him enough about this, and it's about just having what we originally had. I think not having those I think having Classic WoW go up to a certain point and just sit at max is completely fine. I would just like for them to slow down a little bit. I think that the phase 2 has come a lot quicker than I originally had hoped. I originally had thought that phase 2 would come out in February,
Yeah, me too.
and now we got it in November. And I was just like, oh, okay, let's just pump the brakes a little bit. I am glad though that they are implementing the battlegrounds on the 10th. I think that does help. It's definitely going to make world PvP less of a headache for I'm still leveling. I'm still 58.
Oh, wow.
Trying to level is a bit of a headache right now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
no, I think
to me, if I was
yeah.
leveling, I would just be in instances. I would never leave an instance. There'd be no reason to go in because you're just going to die.
Depending on where you're at, yeah, definitely just die. A lot of gank squads. I will say though, the PvP has hardened the other faction members, and I think there's a lot of them sticking around now where they would have left originally. But no, I think no changes, and then let the game just sit at max, and then we can focus on making, let's say, retail WoW better. We could focus on making Diablo 4, they're already making Diablo 4, but you get me.
Yeah.
I think they've let StarCraft, Heroes of the Storm out to die, and I think that's sad because both those games are fantastic, and I feel like Hearthstone might be close behind. But that's maybe a discussion for a different day.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I guess Overwatch is their cash cow, but I don't know. See, again, I have no idea what Blizzard actually thinks and does because I'm not even in there. So, but yeah,
no, I get you.
I do want to see World of Warcraft just sit on its own. It can have a small crew of people. Omar can, keep it alive, and I hope they just keep giving him more money so that he can stay on and keep it alive. But yeah, they don't need to add anything or change too much. And the speed of releases, I thought again that they would release in February because originally Maraudon came out 3 weeks after the game came out, or it's 4 weeks, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dire Maul came out 4 months after that. So that would have been February if they had actually waited that long to copy the timeline. But they're accelerating everything, so it's fine. Yeah. We'll find out. Again, it's a whole new experience, guys. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy the ride.
Sit back, relax. That's the cool thing about Omar and some of the other classic guys. They're all fans like we are. They are utterly the same nerds that you find in the game. They just have the pleasure of being able to work on their favorite game.
Yeah, what a freaking! I'd be terrified. I'd be like, oh god, we're gonna mess this up. I'd be so scared.
I'm gonna get put on a spit. They're gonna gut me live.
Yeah, if I let one bug through, my god, you didn't let the corrupted blood in. # no changes. Oh god. Oh my god.
Yeah. But I want to thank you for having me on, man.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. You saved my butt this week, honestly. I mean, I'm literally we're recording this at 12 a.m. It comes out in 12 hours on Spotify. I really last minute felt like this is a last minute oh god, I don't have an interview this week yet. This is not good. Nobody's responding to any calls. All of a sudden, I'm sending out more and more messages to people, and I get this response, bing, immediately. Yeah, I'll be on. I'm like, oh, that was That was easy. Like, all right.
That was painless.
Yeah. It was good. And I'm thank
If you
for
ever want
having
me back, man, I'll gladly come.
Yeah, I haven't had anyone come back yet. Some people keep asking me this. They're saying like, "Hey, I'll come back," and I'm like, "Yeah, I haven't done that yet. So I got to find a way to do this. I got to find a way to do like a medley of people to come back and like just like we'll do like a I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Like
how
four
to
of
do
us
that.
all at once. All of us together. 4 of us just do like a big powwow discussion.
About
grab
video. Yeah,
grab the brothers, grab Cargos, grab a few of them. I can help you out if you want.
yeah. All right. All right, well, thank you, man. I'll end it there. Again, if anyone's out there, go follow him on Twitch. It's Pohgren. Go follow him on YouTube, Pohgren. Pohgren streams on Twitter. And that's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. I want to again thank Pohgren for joining me. It was really nice to talk with someone who loves WoW and wants to share that love with the world. As for myself, as for this podcast, there's always more coming down the pipe. I release a new episode every Saturday that I hope you enjoy. So until then, have a great night, have a great life, and have a great morning.